optimistic,
epiphany,
energizing,
quite literally, but also figuratively, sunshine.
We find it to be certainly a leading edge international education conference where we can have constructive dialogues around things that are happening in our sector, both from an international education perspective, but also how does that impact our institutions in the BC education and Canadian education sector in general.
Part of the conversation that we've been having at BCCIE has been looking at how do we interculturalize campuses, how do we build this into curricula, how do we work with staff and faculty so that some of the benefit of having so many international and diverse students on campus, people actually benefit, the domestic students, the international students, everybody benefits from the experience.
I think we have to stop taking things for granted and stop assuming that things will progress for international education. So the politics around internationalization, globalization these days are very pertinent, and I think it's a perfect conference theme.
For me, the things that we should be talking about for my landscape and the context that comes from my knowledge background and the work that I do is we should be talking about Indigenous education within international education. And what does that look like from a global perspective, and how do we do that from the global perspective from the communities that we come from?
The big opportunity in front of us is how do international education frameworks and practices can be applied in many other parts of the world where there is much bigger demand, much bigger need to become more global.
It's an important gathering to have, that the people who are engaged in this sector need to have an opportunity to come together and exchange their stories, share best practices, and identify issues that they may want to address. And then here, it's very clear that you've got some very high-powered discussions about some pretty serious issues.
And the more people we have having those types of dialogues, I think the better opportunity we have to ensure that what we're doing is going to be sustainable and correct, not only for our institution, but for our province and for our country.